first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello and welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibler. I want to pull that up. That is our live look over there at the Oregon coast right now. So to prove we are live streaming, it is Wednesday, September 25th, and everything's pretty rainy for today. We'll see how long that lasts. Of course, you can check at kptv.com. But I did want to pull up the coast because it is relatable to what we're going to be discussing. Again, this is Fox 12 Now. We're live here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, going throughout the afternoon here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. But sometimes we actually do go out of the studio as well. And one of those times was going to the Oregon Zoo. It is currently Sea Otter Awareness Week, a very important thing, especially here for the state of Oregon, where we don't have sea otters. And we're going to get into that and explain some of the details on that in case you didn't know. There are a number of efforts to bring them back, and we're also going to be talking about that with the Elakha Alliance later on. So this is a two-part segment with lots and lots of sea otters in it. So let's be honest, that's what you want to see. So we're going to get to that here. This first part was actually something I did live on Good Day Oregon, but it's still very much relevant to showcase now because we were able to go onto Sea Otter Beach at the Sea Otter exhibit at the Oregon Zoo. Pretty amazing. So just behind the scenes, so you know, so it's a very short amount of time that we were allowed to go out there. So we had to get out really quick, film, and then get off really quick, and that's for the benefit of the sea otters, and we're obviously not trained zoo staff. You will see some of the staff on there, including Nicole Nicassio-Hiskey, who's the senior marine life expert, I believe is the proper word, and if I'm wrong on that, I apologize, Nicole. She knows what she's talking about. So Nicole is who we were out there with, and it was just a really interesting experience to get to go be that close to them and then bring you in with us too. And that's part of what we got to do. So we'll run this here first, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about sea otters. Again, we'll have Chanel from the Elakha Alliance afterward, but let's go ahead and take a look at this right now. There are indeed some very cute guests out here. So I'm here on Sea Otter Beach at the Sea Otter exhibit here at the Oregon Zoo. I'm with Nicole, and as you can see, the stars of the show are these three right here who are currently snacking on a lot of things. Nicole, what is it that they're eating right here?
So they have a mix of clam, shrimp, a type of marine fish called capelin. They also get crab. They get sea urchins every once in a while, squid. So it's a real nice variety. That's
a good seafood medley that they have going right there. So for Sea Otter Awareness Week, you know, what are some of the big things that you think people should know about sea otters? Because I understand they're not on the Oregon coast anymore.
They are not, and a lot of people don't realize that they used to be off the Oregon coast, and they play an important role with the marine ecology. So with sea otters gone, we have had a huge explosion of sea urchins, and sea urchins eat kelp. So our marine ecology is probably quite different now than it used to be.
And so a big effort is being made to eventually get them back here onto the Oregon coast. And part of that, I would imagine, is these three right here, is learning from them.
Yes, they are ambassadors for their species for sure. We've got Juno, Sushi, and Lincoln. And they all have their own stories. They are actually southern sea otters off the coast of California. They were stranded, or they were basically orphans, so they needed a place to go. So we have them here at the Oregon Zoo, but they've been a great team.
And with these three here, obviously part of here for the Oregon Zoo exhibit, you know, for people to come out here for this week, especially for Sea Otter Awareness Week, what are some of the things that they can expect?
So they eat 6 times a day, so most likely you're going to see them eating a snack or getting some sort of nice ice treat. We have volunteers working out front of the exhibits, teaching people about sea otters. We've got a couple games set up that people can play, so if you've got kids, they might really enjoy that. And then, of course, you can just always see them hanging out, being fluffy and cute.
Yeah, they're really, really good at being fluffy and cute. I could definitely say that. I can definitely see that this year. And also a nice lounge toy that you got right there. So, so again, Sea Otter Awareness Week, you know, happening this week,
yes,
so people can come out. But anytime the sea otters are here.
Yes.
And anything else that you think is important for them to know?
I think just learning about sea otters because they were a native species at one point. So I would love to see them back off the Oregon coast.
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you, you can come see these three here at the Oregon Zoo anytime. This is amazing. I'm not going to lie, standing on Sea Otter Beach right here. I don't want to get too close because those are some sharp teeth. But these guys are amazing. Everybody can come out here, check this out, find out about sea otters, and obviously, this is pretty cool and pretty neat that we have this here at the Oregon Zoo. I'll send it back to you in the studio. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, question from Shauna. So it seems like they're doing a lot of tricks here. Are they very smart? Are they easily trainable?
Yeah, they are very smart. They are very agile animals, so they are relatively easy to train. A lot of it comes with just spending time with them and developing that rapport and that trust with them. They are wild animals, though, so we do not get in the water with them, and we don't typically hang out with them unless we have food, which is something they, will work for when we ask them to do their behaviors.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, and you can see them right here. I mean, obviously, this is something else that people can come out and see, too. It is pretty incredible if you have not been out here to this exhibit, watching these guys run around and snack on this and do some tricks. It's awesome. All right. I mean, I know I said that a lot, but it really was such a neat experience, and glad we got to share it with you. So part of that there, just for behind the scenes, while I was quiet, I should have explained this while playing that. If you had watched the on-air version, Shauna was asking me a question to ask them, so that's why I was just silent for a moment. I was listening to that in my earpiece. But again, thank you to Nicole, Senior Marine Life Keeper there at the Oregon Zoo, for joining us for that segment and allowing us to come out there onto the beach with all the other amazing people working at that exhibit. We continued on, though. So we went over to the other side, which is actually the public side, where if you go to the Oregon Zoo, you can stand, you'll recognize the backdrop of where we are. And I spoke to Chanel Hason, who is with the Elakha Alliance. And we're going to get into the name, and we'll explain the organization, well, Chanel will. And at the end of this, too, I want to share just an event that they have coming up, also some other ways that you can support what they do. But we got to get a little more in depth about sea otters in Oregon, what some of the issues are, and also learning about sea otters. I did not know a lot of what we find out in this interview, and plus, as I mentioned, there's lots of sea otters in it. Here we go. All right, we are here at the Oregon Zoo, as we have been at the Sea Otter exhibit. This is pretty incredible, so you've probably walked by this when you come here to the zoo before, but they're playing around behind us, so I'm sure that's what people are going to be looking at. But I am talking to Chanel right here from the Elakha Alliance, and thank you for being here. And I think, to start off, can you let everybody know what the Elakha Alliance is and what the organization is and what it is that you stand for there?
Definitely. The Elakha Alliance is a nonprofit here in Oregon. Elakha is actually a native word for sea otter, so there's about 6 different words for sea otter in different indigenous languages. And so Elakha was created by a Siletz tribal member named David Hatch. And so Elakha was created with tribal, nonprofit, and conservation leaders. And so we are trying to restore Oregon's sea otter population. We are the only state that used to have them that has 0 currently. So we're trying to bridge a gap of Washington, which is about 800 miles, to the next population, which is in California.
And to give everybody that history of it, why is it that there are no sea otters here in Oregon?
Yeah, unfortunately, sea otters are equipped with really, really soft fur. It's the densest fur of any animal in the whole entire world. And ultimately, people wanted to kill them for jackets and hats for their fur. So in the mid-1700s started the maritime fur trade on the West Coast. And unfortunately, by 1910 was the last known sea otter pelt traded. So
within that less than 200 years, just gone here off of the Oregon coast.
Yeah, about 99% of the entire sea otter population was extirpated.
So we've got somebody trying to get a snack out of a ball of ice right there. That's what's happening. I'm not sure which one that is, but yeah, racking it on the glass. Well, as we can see right here, I mean, obviously pretty dexterous hands, paws, what's the right? Paws.
Yeah, so they have really great sensitive front paws that they can use to grip, and then they're also one of the marine mammals that uses tools. As we can see, it's using the glass, but it can use rocks to try and break open their favorite invertebrates like crabs and clams and mussels. And in this case, a giant piece of ice with a fun toy inside. Oh, I think they got it. Nice work.
It's snack time. One other thing I'm noticing is when they're diving, there's a bunch of air coming out. But is that their breath? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so the bubbles that you see coming out of their fur, they trap air. They groom themselves constantly because they're trapping air between 2 layers of fur, and that's what actually insulates them in the cold waters. Unlike many other marine mammals who have a big layer of fat or blubber, sea otters just have the densest fur of any animal in the world, and so they use that air in between those 2 layers of fur to keep them warm. So when you see them dive down, that's kind of like their warmth layer leaving them, so when they resurface, they're going to constantly groom and put that air back in between.
So that's their blanket.
It is, yeah, their air blanket.
Something else, this is probably going to seem like a really silly question for you, but for us here in Oregon, you're used to probably seeing river otters. What is the biggest way to tell the difference between a river otter and a sea otter?
Definitely. A lot of times I get emails from people
Yeah.
asking that same question. So river otters are plentiful here in Oregon. They are, they den on land, so all 4 paws are the same size. So that's a big difference. They run really agile on the beaches and on rocks, but they do swim and forage in the ocean, so it can be a little confusing with the name river otter. But that's the biggest difference, is if they're very agile and running along the beach, you'll never see a sea otter running on the beach because they have the big back flippers and it's very uncomfortable for them to be running on land. They're meant to be in the water. And also river otters are in groups of 3 to 4 and have really long tails too. And they're a bit smaller than sea otters as well.
Okay, that is good. That's all good ways to tell the difference. So if you're at the beach, it's probably a river otter that you're seeing. So looking back, at this effort to bring sea otters back to Oregon, like what are the steps to do that? Since they're in Washington, they're in California, why will they just naturally make their way to Oregon, or what needs to happen for that?
So sea otters are not a migratory species, so it takes some human intervention to bring them back to Oregon. They've been missing for over 100 years. And so the steps to do that, it's ultimately U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They are in charge of marine mammals since they're a federally protected animal. So they would be the ones to propose a reintroduction and actually input that. So what we're doing as the Elakha Alliance is a lot of education and outreach to engage the community, talk with different stakeholders that would be involved, fund research projects, like we're funding a fisheries assessment right now. We funded a South Coast tourism impact study. We funded a scientific feasibility study with the top 6 sea otter scientists of the world, and is it feasible to bring them back to Oregon? And they said yes it is, so that's really great. And U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service also published in 2022 their own scientific feasibility study on reintroduction in Northern California and Oregon, and they also came to the conclusion that it is feasible. And so it just takes a lot of time and money to do a reintroduction, but the public can get involved by emailing or calling their elected officials. That's really important to let them know that this effort is really crucial for Oregon's kelp forest.
So is that the biggest obstacle right now, is just political willingness or some of the financial sides of it, so the rest of it is pretty much understood?
Yeah, all of the above.
Okay.
So that's the biggest thing right now.
And where would they come from if you did reintroduce? So would it be from one of those other populations?
Yes, so all sea otters in captivity, there's no breeding of sea otters in captivity, so they were all, they either washed ashore and couldn't be re-released, and so that's why they are here. So it's ultimately U.S. Fish who will decide that where the source population is, but our assumption is maybe the northern subspecies sea otter, which is in Alaska. There's about 90% of all sea otters in Alaska, over 70,000. So
Wow.
to take maybe 50 or 60 from that population is not going to harm the ecosystem or their dynamics.
And talking about the ecosystem, just to understand that too, so what are some of the benefits of sea otters coming back to the Oregon coast?
Yeah, so sea otters are a keystone species, which means that their presence in the ecosystem is disproportionate to their abundance. Basically, a little number of them makes a big difference. And so Oregon's kelp forests are kind of in peril at the moment. We've lost 2/3 of it. And so bringing sea otters back is a long-term solution to help rebuild and revitalize those kelp forest ecosystems, which we as Oregonians all depend on for, if you eat seafood here, Dungeness crab to rockfish, all of those live in the kelp forest ecosystem and need a healthy ocean.
So huge advantages all around for everyone, including the ecosystem and fishing and, if you like seafood.
Yeah, exactly. And 70% of our oxygen that we breathe comes from the ocean and algae, which is what kelp is.
So we need some sea otters back there.
That's right.
All
Yes,
right.
we do.
Well, once again, for everybody, where can they go to find out more information, follow up, and do some of these things that you're recommending?
Yeah, our website, you can get to it by OregonSeaOtters.org, and you can follow us on social media at Elakha Alliance, ELAKHA Alliance.
There we go. All right. Well, Chanel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah. Perfect timing, buddy. That guy was hilarious. Smashed away on there. Sorry, I just got caught watching it as well. So I want to just follow up just a little bit there on what Chanel said. So the Elakha Alliance, something else that they do have going on is a silent auction that is happening. And so you can take a look at all of this. This is going to be at It ends on September 28th. 2024. So you can go to their website and take a look at all that. That gives you a couple of days here to head down there. And of course, you can donate anytime, and they have other events and information on there, all kinds of stuff on their website. So definitely encourage you to do that, to go there and check out everything else they have going on. And huge thank you to Chanel for joining us to go over that and talk about the Sea Otters. Really great experience, and I really appreciate all of you watching us and being able to share it with you and learn a little bit more, about our Oregon coast. And hopefully we can have Sea Otters back there sometime in the near future, that this will all work out, and then that can be a possibility. We really like, I keep saying appreciate, but it's because I do, all of you watching and all of you being a part of this. So however it is that you found us, thanks for doing so. You can check out all of our other videos and segments at the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel. And that's even when we're not live. You can go there and watch those at kptv.com or the Fox 12 Now tab or on the Fox 12 Oregon apps. All lots of ways that I like to remind you of how you can view our content. And if you have an idea, please feel free to send an email, fox12now@kptv.com. And we may be able to do a segment, we may not, but feel free to send that email in and we will get back to you and let you know what's going on there. And other than that, thanks for joining us. If there's breaking news, I'll be back anytime between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon with more. I'm Greg Nibler. This is Fox 12 Now.